Hey guys, Brian with SB Superior Detail here. Today I'm going to show you how to get rid of etching and other defects quickly, efficiently, and safely with wet sanding, compounding, and a final polish. Okay, today I'm going to be using the TorqX Polisher just because this is, if you're a beginner, you don't have a long throw, a 15mm or a 21mm polisher or a rotary, this is the way to go. I believe you can pick one of these up for as low as $100, so it's a good option for entry level. We're going to be using a 2000 grit sandpaper. I'm going to be using a brand new uro-fiber pad for cutting and a Hex Logic white pad for polishing. We're going to be using the Jescar correcting compound and the V38 optical final polish. And just have some microfiber towels here. And afterwards we're going to be using Jescar Powerlock Plus. Okay, I have the area taped off where there is some light etching. As you can see, this panel has been washed, clayed, and decontaminated, so this is not coming out. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but you can see the etching right there. It's a decent size, it's about the size of my finger, and it's been there on this panel for quite a while, as long as I can remember, so it's never been treated. Even when I went over this with a quick all-in-one polish, it doesn't really affect these things. You really have to go in with sandpaper or a heavy cutting compound to get rid of it. Okay, the first step, we're gonna wanna spray our solution for wet sanding and wet our sandpaper as well. Now we're gonna take our sandpaper, we're gonna sand by hand. You don't wanna put too much pressure, basically let the sandpaper do the work for you. Don't go in circular motions, try and stay in one section, one direction, and then once you get enough white film into your lubrication like this, you see how there's a light white film developing? That's how you know you are taking clear coat. You're removing clear. So we're gonna keep going until most of that defect is taken out. Okay, let's see how much progress we're doing. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to get rid of the marks, but as you can see, it's also leaving a sanding mark. So, we are gonna spray more lubricant on this section. Spray our sandpaper. And go at it once more, but now I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. Again, I'm not putting any pressure. I'm putting the slightest amount of pressure. I'm letting the sandpaper do the work for me. I'm not trying to remove all of the clear coat. I'm just trying to get rid of this little etching. Now, I don't know what caused this etching, whether it was bird poop or something that just sat there forever and just ate through the clear coat, or what it is, but it is definitely a defect in the paint, and this is an effective and safe way to get rid of it. Instead of using just compounding, which will work, but it depends on how bad the etching is, and you may have to do a couple more passes than normal. Okay, so now we're pretty much all the way gone with this etching. So I'm just gonna finish up real quick and then we'll see the results. Okay, let's check it out. Okay, it's almost gone. There's still just a little bit left. So I'm gonna go over this one more time with the sandpaper, but I'm gonna go real light. And again, this is 2000 grit, so it's not as aggressive if I started off with 1000 or 1500 and then jumped it up to a 2000. So we're gonna just go a little bit lighter and try and remove the rest of it. Now this technique can be used for scratches as well. Now if you have a scratch, let's say going up and down this panel like that, correct? When you're sanding, you don't want to sand with the scratch, sand perpendicular to the scratch. And same thing, go very light until the scratch is pretty much non-existent. until you level out that clear coat and get rid of the scratch. If the scratch is going all the way through the clear coat, then you're gonna need to basically repaint or add some touch-up paint, spray some clear on top and sand it all down, and then you can compound and polish. Okay guys, so the next step, we're gonna use the TorqX Polisher with the uro-fiber microfiber pads. These are amazing pads. You can use them for any compounding. They're aggressive, but also not too aggressive where you're gonna be burning through paint very easily. And you can even use these to bring a full polish. It's amazing. So we're gonna be using the Jescar correcting compound with it. I found that this compound with this pad can easily get rid of 1500 grit sanding marks. And we used a 2000 grit. I did go a little bit hard because, as you can see, I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to get this in focus, but if you look real close, it almost looks like there's little cracks within the etching. And that is caused from just over time, the etching has really damaged this clear coat and paint, and those cracks are actually all the way through the paint. So those are not gonna be able to come out, but the majority of this etching will be repaired. So hopefully when we're done, it should not be noticeable. Okay guys, so we're taking the Jescar correcting compound and the uro-fiber microfiber pad, and I'm gonna do 3 to 4 passes on this section of this panel. I'm going to start off with about 3 pea-sized dots of compound, and here's a trick. You know, a lot of people talk about priming the pad, using special pad primers. One thing I actually try and do to prime the pad, you'll start off on speed 1 and just leave it in this section. Don't put any pressure and wait till the pad starts spinning on its own. Once it does, that's how you know you've had the compound lubricate the entire pad. Now from there, if there's still enough product on the panel, you can go ahead and start your polishing and compounding. If not, you can add more compound to your pad. Okay, now we'll go and wipe the panel off. Look at that. Now, all those sanding scratches have been taken care of. I'll bring you in here in a minute. First, I'm gonna replace the pad on the polisher, and we're gonna use the Hex Logic white pad to do a final polish. But to be completely honest, the Jescar correcting compound in conjunction with the uro-fiber microfiber pad really does an amazing job, and for a lot of people, they'll just stop right there because it really does look like it doesn't need a polish at all. You know, its finish is pretty close to near perfect, but I'm looking for, you know, a full job, properly done. Not saying that if you stop there it isn't proper, but you know, to the untrained eye you wouldn't be able to see any defects, but I can tell where there is slight hologramming going on in the paint from the compounding. Now, most people wouldn't see it. I'm almost positive the camera's not gonna be able to pick it up. But like I said, we're gonna be using the white Hex Logic pads with V38 finishing polish. Now for V38, I like to use a little bit more polish than chemical guys would recommend, just because honestly this product flashes really quickly, so it's a good idea to have a QED or even a detail spray on hand to increase your working time. Now same thing, just dab it on the panel, spread your product around on speed setting 1. Then I'm going to use speed setting 5 to 6 depending on how it's going to do the polish. Okay, now let's go ahead and wipe that off and see what we've got. Alright, so from what I see, we've got 90% defect removal, maybe 95%. The etching is pretty much unnoticeable at this point. Now, like I said, if you look close enough, you can see those little tiny cracks where the etching was, just from how hard that the etching actually ate through the clear coat itself. But besides that, you know, to the untrained eye, it looks like there was nothing ever there. So let's take off this tape and we'll go in further to take a look and apply our sealant to protect this panel. So I'm going to go ahead and use this detail spray to get rid of any tape residue as well. But as you can see, the etching has been taken care of. Pretty much defect free. You know, these little road chips, but nothing we can do about that because there's no paint there. So, oh look, here's a spot. Oh no, that's tape residue. Okay. Anyways, so you can see the line from where no compound and polish. There's a slight line. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. See the little flake in the paint is actually popping more than it is where it hasn't been touched. Okay guys, so that was a quick how-to on how I wet sand, compound, and polish any defects off of clear coat, whether it's etching, scratches. You can use the same exact technique, and you know, we'll get 90 to 95% defect removal with this. It's not, you know, you're not going as hard as if you went from 1,000 grit to a 1,500 to a 2,000, and then went a little bit harder with the compound. As you saw, I only did 3.5 passes. And then I did 3 passes with the polish. Now if I was going for more gloss or more pop, I would use a different polish. I would most likely use Sonax's Final Cut, which is honestly an amazing polish, and that's my go-to for most clients' cars. But V38, even V36 works really well. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And again, I'm Brian with SB Spirit Detail, based out of the DMV. Some of you may question what kind of lighting I'm actually using to make this video. And as you can see up here, this is actually a 50-watt LED floodlight that I bought off of Amazon for $11, I believe. You can see it is pretty bright. Now you see the garage, turn it off. You know, pretty dark. Turn it back on, flood it with light. So that's the lighting I'm using.